All right, hi everyone. Welcome to this week's Tuesday chat, and I'm just waiting for Facebook to get itself sorted, and hopefully it will show me the comments. But it's pretty good at not doing that. So let me just bear with me. I will just open another screen. Oh, here we go. It's a bit slow today. I don't know why. It's not too overcast, I don't think. But yeah, anyway, it's Tuesday chat time, and it's Anzac Day here in Australia. So it is a day of sort of reflection and rest, and a lot of people have probably already been to a dawn service. I haven't this morning, but I am heading to a Anzac memorial service a bit later today. So yeah, so it's definitely a special day for us, but I still thought I would just get on here and have a little chat about today. Well, I wanted just to talk about selling your art. It's a really hard thing to do and something we all, especially as beginner artists, working our way through. A lot of times you may decide you just want to be a hobby artist and you're doing it for the pleasure, and you're also doing it for your own mental health, I suppose. So and there is nothing wrong with that at all. You may never want to sell any work at all, and that is totally fine. But eventually, a lot of times people who get started in art, they do then start to sort of want to turn it more into a career, or just at least make a little bit of money to help pay for some art supplies. So these are just some ideas and tips I want to give you today about how I think you could go about trying to sell some work. All right, I can see Odette's here, and Leonie, Ev and Jan. Hi guys. Yeah, so today is all about just some marketing ideas and stuff for your art. So like I said, if you're a beginner and you're not at this level and you don't ever want to be, that is fine, but these are still some good ideas to maybe even just get your work seen and share it with everyone. So all right, so just let me get over here. I just need to be able to see what I want to talk about. I do have a blog post on this as well, which you can find over on kerrydixonart.com. And it probably goes in a little bit more detail, but it's not a very long blog post. So all right, I've got some notes here. All right, so first tip, I suppose, is right from the outset, if you do want to create some money out of your art, you need to start building an email list. So that's one of the very first things. So think of that as you start to go through, is email lists are very important. That is mainly because when we build a following on Facebook and Instagram and all the rest of it, they can just close your site down at any time. You don't own any of that. So you might have a group with 1,000 followers, but if Facebook decides to shut you down for any reason, half the time there's no there's no support with Facebook, so you can't really figure out why they shut you down. But if they do, you've lost all that contact. So it's a good idea as you're building to have ways to get people to sign up for an email list, because that is your list then, and you can contact them at any time. So if anything does go wrong, you can still get access to those people. Okay, so just keep an email list in the back of your mind as you're sort of starting to go through building up a bit of a business. Okay, so I suppose as an artist nowadays, we're not just talking about selling originals either. We of course create an original, but there's so many different ways to make money as an artist, and that is something that it's very hard to make money just selling originals. So we're very lucky with all the technology, and we can talk to people all around the world, of course. So we can market our art in all different ways. So some other ways, of course, are prints of your originals. Pattern design, so surface pattern design like fabrics, wallpaper, all that sort of stuff. Commissions, of course, as wildlife artists. Pet portraits are very common and important and a great way to make money. There's teaching, there's digital products, like you can do some print on demand sites where you upload your artwork and they take care of the rest. Picture books, you could go into being a illustrator for picture books, I suppose. And then there's NFTs, which that's like the real technical side of art, which I'm not very familiar with NFTs, but that's just to give you a few ideas. So like we talked about mind mapping last week, you could do a mind map of all different ways you could make art. So you could have these as headings and then branch off of things you think you could do to do that. I just recently was looking at another artist in America, and she really sells a lot of prints. Like that's her business, is prints. She does these beautiful oil landscape paintings, and her prints are like quite big, coming down in various sizes. And I was quite surprised because when I went and actually looked at a lot of her work, her originals are only A5. So they're only, you know, that size there. And then because her business is prints, that's where she finds her market, I suppose. So she really does just do a very small original, and then she creates that just to make prints from. So being quite small, of course, she can produce quite a few more and get a lot more prints out there, which I thought was a really pretty clever marketing idea. And yeah, it's a full-time business for her. She does all her own prints in-house. And yeah, I just surprised me because I was expecting to see these really big original oil paintings that I thought would be selling for thousands and thousands for the original. And then I realized all her originals are just small because it is for making prints. And I thought, okay, that's pretty clever too. So, you know, prints can be quite a big part of business. All right, so that's sort of different ways. Of course, there's so many ways. Like that's just a few. You could probably think of a million others. But some of the tips I really wanted to go through, I noticed in a few art groups on Facebook as well as my own, some people might want to try and sell or put a price for their work. When you put your post up of your new artwork in a Facebook group, and you put a price, or you might advertise that you have prints or this or that. I just wanted to sort of address that as one of my tips is you shouldn't really market to art groups on Facebook because they're not your customer. If you're in an art group, which I'm in heaps of art groups, there's so many great ones with thousands and thousands of followers where you share your artwork, but they're all other artists. So it's very rare that other artists actually buy your artwork because most of us, you know, most artists, it's like with any crafty people, which we all are, when you see that something in a shop or something, you just go, oh yeah, I could make that. So it's just not the right market. So it's sort of pretty pointless trying to sell stuff in a Facebook group. So, not in a Facebook group, in art Facebook groups, okay? So when you do want to get your work out there, definitely join all these groups. But think more specifically about the group you want to join that you're going to put your artwork in. So if you've done a great drawing of a particular breed of dog, you could then look up, so say if it was, I don't know, a cattle dog or something, you could look up Cattle Dog Lovers Australia or Working Dogs, like if it's a cow pig you've drawn, working dogs as well as cattle dogs, farm dogs, you know, really target that. If it was like a little chihuahua or, you know, one of those little dogs that you see people dress their dogs in outfits and clothes and jackets. So you could even look at Facebook groups that sell that sort of have dogs that dress up, like clothes for dogs or whatever, you know. So you've got to really put your thinking cap on and think about who would actually love this drawing. So it's not other artists. We appreciate the drawing, of course, but we're not going to buy it. So you want to look at people that so even nature lovers, things like that. If it's like a flowers or tigers or things totally different, but you can broaden that, like conservation people, nature lovers, all of that. So just really think again you could mind map and break down who would actually love to have that painting on their wall, who just is so in love with that sort of stuff. That's with my dingo paintings. And it's also people that couldn't do it themselves, like they're not artists in any way, so they really love it because they know it's not something they could just go and do. So with a lot of my dingo work, I have the Fraser Island Dingo Association. They quite often, when I do dingo paintings, they'll share it to other like dingo lovers. So that's why instantly that can sell. I did one of a magpie. So all you're just friending these groups or following these groups, and you're not saying the work's for sale in there, because you're not allowed to sell in a Facebook group. It's very rare to have any Facebook group let you sell if you go through the rules. So what you're doing is you're sharing your drawing. So with the magpie one, it was Magpie Lovers Australia. I did a painting of a magpie. I posted it in there, just sort of, hey guys, I just created this painting of this magpie. I absolutely love magpies. Thought you guys would appreciate it. Something like that. Just a little bit of a little story about why you painted it, maybe something like that. Put it in there, and then you'll find I had that many comments and I had that many people message me asking about commissions and things like that, which normally if I put a painting of a magpie in, like I don't know, there's so many art groups I'm in. If I put it in an art group, I'll get some likes and people say, oh, that's really nice. But you don't get inboxed with all these people wanting to know if you can paint a picture for them. So you will be surprised. Facebook is brilliant for marketing, but you've got to really think about who you're marketing to, okay? So so I don't even bother. Still be in other art groups just to get inspiration and to share your work, of course, but don't think of other art groups as customers in any way, okay? So definitely it's the animal lovers or whatever your picture is. They're the ones you want to target, okay? The other thing with that is a lot of these groups you can't join. So I have my Facebook page, which is what you're on now. But then I have my personal Facebook profile, which is just Kerry Dixon. So a lot of groups you can't join with a page. Okay, so they can only join, I can only join through my personal profile. So if I put my painting up in there and people, so I can't sell and I can't advertise, I can't put a link or anything back to me. So all they can do if they do want to contact me is click on my name, so my personal profile, and then they can message me through that. But it's a great idea to make sure in your personal profile you have a little bit of, in the about section, a bit of information about that you're an artist and what you do, and that you do actually take on commissions and sell your work, and a link then to either your website, or if you do have a Facebook page or an Instagram account, or wherever you are going to be selling your work, like the best thing for them to go and see what you do. So mine's you can put a few links in. I think I've got my website linked in mine, so that way they can click on your name and still find out all about you and contact you. A lot of people don't, their personal profiles don't have much, and Also, a lot of people have their personal profiles as private as well, which if you're looking to do this, then you can't do that. Your profile needs to be open for anyone to go and have a look and be able to follow you and find your details quite easily. Okay. If you want to, no, I don't get too worried about. You only need to friend your friends in your personal profile, but you still need to have it not private, so people can follow you through that to your main art contacts. So, all right. So that's Facebook. Another one is Instagram. If anyone has Instagram, it is a really great social media platform for artists because, of course, instantly it's like a gallery, I suppose. So it's a really good way to send people if you want to send someone to see your work, because it is set up like a gallery. Facebook isn't very user friendly in wanting to see a heap of your work together, whereas Instagram is. So as artists, it's a great idea to have Instagram, even if it is just for a platform to send people to see your work. But one of the best ways to grow a following at the moment is through short video. So Instagram Reels is probably one of the fastest growing social medias out there. And the beauty, it's similar to TikTok. I haven't bothered with TikTok because Instagram bought Reels in. And Instagram and Facebook are now combined. So it's really easy for me to post to both, which time saving is what you need when you're trying to do all this marketing. It's really, really hard and takes a lot of time and effort to market as an artist, but it's kind of part of our job, I suppose. If you want it to become something, a business in any way, you need to think of it as not a chore, more as we'd all just love to paint all day, but that's not the real world. If you want to run a business, it's a business. The painting's the fun side of it, but there's still all the marketing and the bookkeeping and all the rest of it that goes into any business. So but yeah, Instagram is great for that, and especially Reels. So the short form is what you want to do. Okay, another tip I had was Dad, I do love your Reels. Thanks, Dad. I do a lot of farm stuff around here. I need to do more art Reels instead of farm ones. But actually, in saying that, a lot of the stuff I do put up, they're more stories than Reels, and there's a difference, but it can be confusing. But with Instagram, you have Instagram stories. So if I have followers, they can see my stories. Okay, so that's where I put a lot of farm stuff up. Whereas Reels, my followers see them, but Reels get seen to all new people all the time. Anyone can watch one. Whereas a story, it's only people that are following you that see the stories. So that's why Reels are great, because they do get pushed out to new people all the time. So it's attracting new customers. All right, another one. Once you've built a bit of a following, so that's your first step, I suppose, is make sure get some Instagram, get a Facebook page, and just start. You've got to be regular. Okay, start building a following. Invite everyone you know. Probably you don't really want to start running Facebook ads or any of that stuff to start with. You want to grow it organically to get going. But yeah, you just got to be very consistent with posting. So whether that's every single day, whether that's 3 times a day, whether that's every Tuesday, once a week, monthly, whatever your content is, it has to be consistent. Okay, so don't go like a whole week of posting 3 times a day and then just become a ghost for the next 2 weeks and then go hard again for a couple of days and then forget about it again. Just be very consistent. And like I said, with Facebook and Instagram being joined, you when you have your Facebook page, you can go into the business dashboard in Facebook, and there's a scheduler, and you can schedule your posts for months in advance, and you can also tell it whether you want that to go on Instagram as well. So, and the same with if I've created a reel on Instagram, it will then ask if I want to post it to Facebook. So they're very good in the way they work together. I started Odette Portraits on Instagram. It does take a while to do them. Yeah, it does. That's awesome. I love that name. So yeah, that's excellent, Odette. I'm glad you started an Instagram page. Yes, and reels do take time to do, but one of the easier ways to do them I found is if you go into reels and you just look at some of them down the bottom will have use template. So the template, the sound, the time changes and everything is all there. If you hit use template, it opens it up and you just change the photos to your own, and then you're done. So they are a lot quicker to make than having to sit and record your own. So they're fun. I wouldn't do them all the time, but they are fun and they're pretty quick to make. So just when you're scrolling, just see if any say use template, and click on that, and then change the pictures up to your own and have a play with that. It's really good fun. But I was a bit in the thing. Some of these reels look so professional, and it's really intimidating because they take so long to create all of that and their video imagery and all the text and everything. Whereas it puts me off doing them. Whereas don't even worry about it. People prefer to see you and be real. So don't worry too much about being really like having all this professional photography and stuff. Just do what you can do. People like to see you as well. I know that's intimidating too, but make sure you throw a photo in every now and again with you in it, or a little bit of video of you maybe, and just remember as you're working to try and take little bits of video as you're going. And I do the video first. I don't do a lot, like I don't sort of create a reel live. I always video it all on my phone, and then maybe at night sit down, go back through what you've recorded throughout the day and make a reel then, or do a couple. So that way it doesn't, there's no pressure on having to say the right words or look right and all the rest of it. You can just create it at the end of the day, and if none of it was any good, then don't worry about it. Use a template and make something different. But that is definitely something that is one of my goals myself, to try and get more regular with reels. So because I'm not consistent. I'll do a few and then I stop, and then I forget about it, and then I'll remember a month later and throw another one in, and it's not the ideal situation. So all right, enough about Facebook and Instagram now. Let's go on to this kind of involves Facebook, I suppose. As you've built an audience, then you could think about doing an online art show. So again, through Facebook, you can create a group in Facebook just for the show. So you can either do it just straight on your main page, or you could build up a bit of excitement. Say I'm going to be doing an online art show, best price is like, all my artwork's for sale at discounted prices, or whatever you want it to be. Or it could just be a series you've been working on that you're selling just that. But similar, like if you were having an exhibition in a gallery, I suppose, you can a month out build up excitement for it, and you can have it so that they get directed to a group. So they you can get them to sign up, so you can get an email address if they're interested and have them go to that particular group. So you'd have to have a little sign up form, so a landing page that you send them to, where there's the form they put in, you get their email address, so you're starting to build your email list, and then that gives them a link to then join the group you've created just for the art show. So that's one way to do it. That would probably be good if you have a big following, maybe. And yeah, if you wanted to keep it a bit more separate. Or if you're just starting, I would say I would do it on my main page, because your main page, any videos on that, which is why I do these Tuesday chats on my main Facebook page rather than inside my groups, is because on here the recordings get pushed out. So the more people like and comment on the video, Facebook says, oh, people like this, so it'll start to push it out to more people that aren't just my followers, or even my followers, because half of them don't see what I'm doing anyway. But if it's in a group, there's no opportunity for it to get shared with new people. It's only for that group. Okay, so, but yeah, so it's very much the same as if you were doing a gallery exhibition or something, but you just do it online. So essentially you'd go through and make up an inventory of all the work. Whether there's a theme or not is up to you. Make sure you put tags on the back of the wall with price and a story. Make sure you always include story about why you created that and what the painting means to you, all the rest of that. So name, story, price, I'd have that just stuck on the back of each painting. So then when you're doing your video and you're holding each painting up, you can read the back while you're holding it up. Okay, and then I would number them, so I'd just start at 1, I suppose, and work through. So if you had 20, 1 to 20, and then if anyone was interested in purchasing, they comment and put the number there, and then that, yeah, it's sold or whatever. And then I suppose if there was a few people wanting the same painting, it would be the first person who's commented, I suppose, is who would be the one to receive it or to be able to get first option of purchasing. Okay, so that's how online art show works. I haven't done one myself, but I have been looking into them because I have that much work here that I need to try and move. So maybe an online art show could be something as well. Then your local art societies. That's another one. All of my members know I continually tell them to join their local art societies, and it's a way to get involved with other artists. It's such a lonely hobby that when you get out there and get around other artists, you get a lot of inspiration, and it's just really nice to be part of the whole group. And then you get to hear about any competitions or any art things coming up that you might want to get involved in. And your local art societies are usually a lot easier to display your work in than say any council run gallery. So the comparison here for us in Maryborough, the council gallery, the one in Hervey Bay you can't even get into at all. The Maryborough one, you can apply to have an exhibition, which is you book an area. So it's quite a few $100s for that area, and you have to put a proposal in with your ideas, what your art exhibition is going to be about, and it's a 2-year wait, and you might not even get accepted. Okay, so it's a lot for people starting out to even go through that process, spend that sort of money, and even get accepted. So that's why your local art societies are the best starting point, in my opinion anyway, because with our one here, it's literally across the road, and you can go in there and you can book just a wall, and it's quite inexpensive. I think for the dearest wall in there, I think is $70, and that's for a whole month. And a wall holds at least probably 5 to 8 paintings. They vary in size, so they vary in prices. The smallest one is $30, so there's your sort of difference. So yeah, you can just book a wall, and they don't question you, or you don't need to let them know what your art is. Like, you don't have to put in a proposal, you don't have to explain anything, you just book a wall and you can display your art. So it doesn't matter if you're a beginner or like a seasoned professional. It's just a really great way to get your work out there. And they quite often do sell work in there. It's not a bad gallery. I think it helps. It's across the road from the main gallery as well. And Maryborough is a fairly big tourist town, I suppose. So think about, where they're going to be on display as well, like where the gallery's situated. But it's definitely a great way to build your confidence and get started sort of displaying your work. Because I suppose one of the main things is to sell your work, it's got to be seen. Okay, people don't know that you have a house full of artwork. They need to be able to see it to know that it's for sale. So it's all about getting your work out there in front of people. The Glass Society. Oh, that's the other thing as well I was going to mention with the local art societies, or even a bigger gallery. You could go in with other artists, so like 2 or 3 or even just one, and share the costs and share the ideas. And that's another good way as well. If you're a bit scared to go and show by yourself, have another artist friend and do a combined project. That's always really a lot of fun. We just finished doing one in Maryborough here. We each had a wall. There was quite a few I think there were 7 of us, different women artists, local ladies, and we each booked a wall. And then we had a big opening night. There was like 84 people, which was huge for that gallery to get that many people for the opening. And yeah, it was just a great lot of fun, really inspiring to be around other artists as well. All right. Another idea, which we've talked about this in my membership actually, was approaching cafes and say doctors, dentists, optometrists, all the professionals, or hairdressers, restaurants, all of that sort of stuff. Approach businesses and see if they'll display your work for you. You see a lot of cafes and restaurants do this. Try not to be too close to the kitchen in the position of it, because you don't want your art to end up with all fumes and smells of grease and that from a kitchen. But it's a good way. They usually put a little tag with the artist's name and a price on there. So a lot of times they're quite happy, because it's a win-win, I suppose. You get your work on display and they get beautiful artwork on their walls that gets changed up every now and again. So a lot of times they don't ask for any commission if it does sell, but you never know. Some might ask for a commission, or you might approach them and say, if it sells through them, you could offer them some money, which would make them more open to displaying your work maybe. So just like I said, it's all about getting it out there. So again, ask family and friends to share. That's quite a simple one, but I forget to do it all the time. Like, I never think, I have a lot of friends and that comment on my post, but I need to just tell them, hey, hit the share button, because that helps as well. Comments and shares. Like I said, if Facebook see a lot of people commenting and sharing on your work or on your post, they'll start to send it out to more people. Okay, so the more interaction you get, the better. And then, of course, the main thing is, don't forget to tell people that it is for sale. That is my biggest downfall. I never mention that my work is for sale when I post pictures of it. So, who was it? Jackie, one of my members, was just sharing the other day. She sold her tiger painting, and yeah, it was through her Facebook. And she just put it was for sale and the price for it pretty much. And she had someone, straight away wanted to buy it. So yeah, just don't forget that little bit. So I wouldn't be putting for sale posts up all the time. And you don't need a shop. so you don't need to go to the expense of a shop to direct people to. You can just sell straight through your social media. So all you need to do is in the post, I would probably do once a week, do a for sale post of whatever it is, even if you've got greeting cards or other things that you've created from your art, prints, all the rest. It doesn't have to be the original every time, but I would make a point of doing a one for sale post a week, and on that you just put the price, that it's for sale. Again, always add a bit of story about the artwork. It's how people sort of connect to it better. And then just put message me if you want to purchase. So you don't have to do the sale through the chat. They can just message you privately if they want to purchase it. So and then you just talk to them about, they can just bank transfer the money, you post it out, all that sort of stuff. So you can avoid having an online shop. But if you want, as there are things that come later, so there's ways you can do everything quite simply. You don't even particularly need a website to get started. You could do it all just straight through social media. But as you progress, that's when I would definitely have a website, and I would probably then look at either creating your own shop or having an Etsy store or something like that, where you're selling work and other people can see it a bit easier. Okay, so that was it for all my tips. So I hope that that has given you some inspiration and some ideas of how to maybe get started. And like I said, it's all about just getting your work out there, getting seen. But nothing compares as well to working at getting better with your art. Make sure you are constantly working on that. 10,000 hours to master anything. So that's what you want to do. Make sure you have time. You've got to really set your time. So have particular time for creating. So drawing time, like creating your actual finished work, but also have playtime. So you want creative playtime where you're experimenting. It's not going to be a finished piece. You're just playing, mark making, all of that sort of stuff. So definitely each week have time set aside just for work, artwork, and then because that needs to be improving all the time, because you'll get to a point that as you get really good, then your work will sell itself. The marketing side won't be anywhere near as hard, because if you get to a point that your work is just brilliant, or you've developed a style that people are loving, it will just sell itself. But it's still got to get out there for people to see. So, all right. Okay, guys, I think I've prattled on enough today. And thank you for joining me. I can't see any questions. I'm just having a quick look through. I know everyone's probably worn out if they've been to dawn service. But hopefully that has helped. Like I said, I can't see any more questions coming in. I don't know whether it's my Facebook or whether everyone's just been quiet listening. But if you do have any questions, if you're watching the replay, just pop them in the chat and I'll see them and answer you in there. And enjoy the rest of your Anzac Day if you're in Australia. And I'm off to a memorial service and catch up with some friends, some of the locals, so it's going to be a good day. All right, thanks everyone, and I will talk to you all soon. Bye.